Hello. On the air of shadow control, and in the category behind the scenes of magical secrets, we will talk with Mikhail Ageev, a spiritual healer, exorcist, and bioenergetic. Hello, Mikhail. Thank you so much for coming to us today. And I wanted to ask about your activities, the specifics of your activities. Please tell us in more detail.
Yes, thank you for the invitation. I am glad to be with you in this space. I have been engaged in spiritual healing, energy correction, and energy therapy for many years, since 2006 year. And at the beginning of my journey, I did it all myself, that is, I consulted people, accepted. And then I saw that, I'm not coping alone, first of all, and secondly, it's wrong. And the fact that I was shown from above the tools through which it is possible to help people, I started teaching this. And now I have a school where I teach this, yes, to my students. And the quality of training is very high, that people after this school, they can help people just like me through energy correction, through energy therapy, through cleansing people of essence, dark energies, structures. And we also teach that there are no special people. It is even more correct to say we are all special. There are no special people in terms of the fact that someone is special, someone is not special. We are all special. Each person has a divine nature, each of us has cosmic DNA, spiritual and not physical essence. And each person absolutely has these abilities. In all cultures, in all traditions, the treatment of the imposition of hands is always known everywhere. In all traditions. It's instinctive, it's embedded in all people. That is, these abilities to clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairvoyance, the ability to communicate with guardian angels, the ability to help other people through healing, everyone has it. And so, my activity is to help people reveal it to themselves, to awaken it, so that it manifests itself, so that it begins to act, and so that people can live a more harmonious life, helping themselves and their loved ones.
Mikhail, I would also like to touch on your practice as a bioenergist. Is that right? That's what it is, and how do you work with it?
This is generally my favorite topic. Exorcism is on the second. The fact is that in all traditions, there is absolutely information about a healing source, healing power. That's in all of them. Imagine, here are people who are generally different. There in China they call qi energy, qigong went. Vital energy, yes. In the East they say the life force is prana, right. Slavic pagans say a healing stream is alive. Christians say there is the power of God, yes, healing. That is, there is information about it everywhere. And this force it exists. And the essence of bioenergotherapy is that the person who owns certain practices, here I own and teach students, he can direct this healing life-giving flow into the human body. And this flow acts in such a unique way. This is the flow of the Creator, this is the flow of the Almighty. He acts that way. When it enters a person's body, it scans it and it goes to where the problem is. And the human body has a normal memory, a standard. Here's how we have, let's say, the phones have factory settings. Here's a glitch. You can always reset it. Here in our body, there is a memory of the norm. That is, our body remembers. Here a person is sick with something, but the body remembers itself, what it should be without arthritis. Remember the body as it should be without pain, without this allergy. And that's when, if a good high-class specialist, he directs this flow, and this flow enters a person, and activates the processes of self-healing, self-regulation, and the body returns to the reference state. There are certain practices, there is the imposition of hands, there are different, there is through contact. There is not through contact, through passes. But the bottom line is that energy therapy, healing with hands, is genetically, spiritually, all people have it. I always say that anyone can do it. Of course, we don't all need to become healers, no. But everyone can learn to help themselves and their loved ones. It's actually not difficult. I can tell you here and our listeners elementary. The anatomy of how it works is very simplistic. In the beginning, you need to enter into resonance and synchronize with the flow of the Creator, that is, prayer, meditation. It will fill up. You're full. Then you approach the person who has a problem, You tune in, you say, Creator, I want to be your channel, your guide once. And then you just intuitively feel to put your hand or hold everything at a distance. And you direct it with your attention.
Attention.
You direct everything with attention. It's very simplistic, right? And people feel relieved, improved, because the flow of the Creator passes through you and goes on.
Do you feel this energy yourself, or how do you feel it?
When you start, you don't feel anything, but if you can even look on the internet, I have on YouTube, a case from practice is called. Well, examples are taken there, like I have at seminars. That is, it's filmed there. Here I'm driving with my hand like this, a person can't see from behind, and his spine is moving, let's say. Or a person feels heat or electricity. In other words, it is subjectively felt and realized in many cases, yes. And here it is these abilities for bioenergetics, for clairvoyance, to purify from the essence. Everyone has them, and we can awaken them. In fact, we are all unique, we all have a divine nature, we just don't realize it all, we don't reveal everything. And often don't believe in ourselves. It's easier for us to think, there are special people, but I'm an ordinary simple person. But in fact there is not. As my mentor, one of the mentors, says, do not rush to put someone on a pedestal, but trample yourself in the dirt. The Creator lives in you. Well, cool. And so, you know, bioenergotherapy, energy correction is very amazing. That's when people attend my live seminars, many have such amazement, because, well, let's say there is a curvature of the spine. One leg of the other is 2 centimeters shorter, 3, or the shoulder is higher, lower, or something there. And just like that, without physical impact, when you direct the flow and a person just happens in front of his eyes, well, I had a seminar just a month ago, there was a difference of 3 centimeters, but it's palpable, apparently. And now a person's leg is pushed out, but this is not a trick with legs, and at this moment, a person feels that he has a fever in his spine. After all, when one leg of a friend is shorter than the arm, it indicates that the problem is in the spine. That is, the spine is clamped somewhere there is a spasm and a distortion because of this. You understand, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Here. And the flow enters, everything comes to the standard, and the leg moves out, which indicates that this correction has occurred. And the body has returned to normal. And there are even people crying because, well, imagine, let's say, well, I had it there. Well, a person has, well, 7 centimeters difference.
Ah, a big difference.
And the leg comes out with jerks, and the person says, I'm hot. And people are watching, how is that? It can't be. Well, there are people who have higher education, but God forbid there is a biological, medical one. How? It's not possible. Matter cannot move without the physical, and that's all there is. It's just that our thinking is arranged in such a way that if, for example, we haven't seen something, we think that it doesn't exist. And I understand some who will watch us and some will say, that Ageev told me, it was so interesting so far for these legs, how they move. Well, because I can't believe it. Because if I hadn't seen it, I wouldn't have believed it. And this is, for example, 200 years ago, we would have gone to Africa and told an African, do you know if there is snow, ice? He's like, no, come on guys, it's not, well, it can't be. And it is, you just haven't seen it. But when you saw it, the expansion comes that miracles are possible. I have seen many miracles in my life. I have seen how after energy correction, energy therapy, but not only that, here is healing, self-healing of the spine. This is the most common. There were several cases when hearing was weak, and even deaf people had hearing returning to one ear. Many cases. This year alone, 3 cases were with hearing aids, that is, hearing and vision are being restored. There are a lot of cases when there is healing from mastopathy, cysts, bumps, fibroids, fibromyomas. They dissolve.
But bioenergetics can be indicated that these are vibrations. This is the power. This is the energy. It is.
Yes, well, let's just say that I become the conductor of the Creator's flow. And the Creator's flow enters the human body and puts everything in order. I'm like a pipe, like a channel.
Well, as a guide.
As a guide. Here I will give the best example. Look, there is this life force, there is this settling energy, it is even in our audience now. It's everywhere. But it is as if it is spilled and smeared across the space. It looks like sunlight. Here he warms everyone. But if you take this light and collected into a bundle through a magnifying glass, then it is a warm light that caresses our skin. It will burn through a wooden table because the light was collected into a bundle. The essence of energy therapy is that the life force, the energy of the Creator's love, and the healing flow are everywhere. They permeate us. We are in His love, in His presence, He is in us. But through certain practices, we simply direct it, well, so to speak, with a point beam into a person's body. And he himself returns everything to normal, if it's very simple to explain. And everyone can learn it. It's not difficult there. There, in general, to live on high vibrations, to practice, to believe in it, to have a desire, and to have a mentor who knows how to do it, will show you everything. You can learn it there in 6 months, yes.
Mikhail, can I just sum it up so that there is an understanding? Right. Here, well, here I am as far as I understood. Here I have already seen the video, only it was a Chinese. That's how he would be. The person had a tumor. He also seemed to put his hand so through energy. And right on the screen it was visible that some kind of tumor was dissolving. That is, there is proven information that every person vibrates at his frequency, as it were. And if we assume that there is all vibration, energy is vibration, that is, tuning in to the purity of the organ, yes, it is possible to balance it. Let's say, how would it get out of balance there? How would there be problems? And it can be, as it were. So it really is and it works.
Absolutely.
Working practice.
Yes, that is, it turns out in this, well, it's the same process, only in other words. That is, absolutely. In general, everything is vibration. There are angels, this is a vibration, we are a vibration, a chair is a vibration, metal is another. It's all vibratory, right? And here is a disease, a tumor, it also has a vibration. And when your vibration is higher, you can displace a lower one of this divine vibration, right? Or as you said. That is, it really is. All by vibration.
Can I have one more moment? Here you said an interesting point. That is, the body has a memory, which it should be initially. It's like the Correlline effect. Yes, that is, as it were.
Yes.
That is, even.
Absolutely.
Even when a person is about to lose a leg, that is, one can say energetically, the body has memory, and it feels like phantom pains. Yes, that is, it happens as if when there is one leg and the other, let's say, yes, that is, as if it were at the expense of this memory.
Yes, this is the norm's memory.
So it's all there. Do you feel it? That's what you're getting at.
And work with it. As a spiritual healer, I have studied everything on this topic. And about the memory of the norm, about the reference state, this, I do not know. There are yoga and teachers who treat yogs there. There is a master who writes a reference state. There are even psychotherapists. I mean, it wasn't my idea, I just know it, yes. Even Anatoly Kashpirovsky was famous in the 90s. He's just. Here are his sessions, there is information that they helped someone a lot. He was based on what he says, so you have an organism that remembers the norm, and I will give you an installation. So that he essentially wakes up and you recover, right? That is, it worked on some, helped. In other words, this law of memory is normal, it is described in different sources, different. That is, I have read it in the yoga literature, I have seen it by Kashpirovsky. In other words, these are people who are engaged in health, they know that there is it, only they call it in their own terms.
The essence is different.
But here in my practice it turns out that I know that there is this law, the body remembers the norm, and I give it an incentive. This is the flow of the Creator, the flow of His love. And the body in this flow, in this light, in this radiance begins to wake up, begins to revive, and begin to recover. And angels also help in bioenergetics. They come and also assist, direct. I'm not alone. I'm not alone.
Mikhail, and now, I would really like to move on to the entities here. What are entities? That's what their essence is and how they influence and interact with people. Can you reveal this topic in more detail already?
Yes, entities are a very interesting topic, and there is a lot of speculation on this topic. In general, there are a lot of charlatans in the field of healing, exorcism. There are people who do not really have knowledge, competencies, they declare. And there are many different superstitions, illusions, but there is also this topic, which is really It is properly covered and objectively. Entities are beings from the subtle world, low vibrational, they have a hierarchy. There are also different ones, there are small, medium, large ones. There are several versions or hypotheses firmware, and I know several. That is, they are all different. That is, when we hear entities, it is a heterogeneous sphere. That is, there are large, highly organized entities, there are medium, there are small, there are larvae. They are very different. But what unites them? These entities, they are the enemies of man, because they feed on his energy. And the problems of many people are precisely because they can be caused by entities. For example, entities can cause diseases. Some, not all, but some. Entities can cause depression, despondency. Entities can cause uncontrollable desires and addictions. Entities. In general, when they ask me as an exorcist, how in general is this a sign? Well, to understand that a person has an essence. In short, yes, there is an extended symptomatology. That's if a person does something in his life that he doesn't want to do. That is, forcibly. I don't want to do it, but I do it. It's such a classic that the essence. I mean, I don't want to do it. So I made the decision not to drink alcohol, but I still drink it.
Have you met such people in your practice?
A lot.
Can you share it?
Yes, that is, here is addiction, here are uncontrolled addictions. Here are two fresh cases. A man addresses me. Just imagine, a young handsome man, rich, goes to the gym, looks good, Mercedes E-Class, he has a beautiful wife. And so prominent, stately. Even if he wanted to, well, if we say a mistress, and there would be many willing. And do you know what kind of addiction he had? He had to go once a week or twice a week, he couldn't find a place for himself, he had to go, it's there in Krasnodar. There is a place there, a bridge. And there are prostitutes there who are of the lowest kind, who are drug addicts there, who are there well for very little money. That is, this essence forced him, he came there, he did this there, what he did. And then he says, when I wake up, what am I doing here? Why would I do that? That is, not just to sleep with a woman there, but in the very dirt. And he couldn't explain it. And if he didn't do it twice a week, or at least once a week, she shackled him, he became irritated. He had to either drink alcohol or something. He started fighting, swearing. Then he went there, did this thing. She let him go for a while. And he has been in remission for a while, because the entity has received energy, and it's like, well, okay. I'll let you go for a while. Here is such a case. Then there was a very interesting case. An adult woman, well, about 60 years old, an accountant. And now she has such an entity hooked forced masturbation. That is, she is an accountant, and she had to do it twice a day. And if she didn't do it, it's a real story, it's not from books, she didn't do it, she physically restrained her. Physically restrained her like that. And then she had to go to the toilet to do this thing, and she let her go. And in the beginning, when she salted it, it was once every 2 days. Then she forced her once a day, then it came to twice a day, and then she turned. And when she came out, it was all gone. That is, there are entities, they often cause such addictions, some dirty ones.
Are they fueled?
Yes. They are at the moment when a person does this, they are here. Because here you see, here is the Creator, right? And there are angels, there are light forces, there are dark forces, right? And just as the Creator and the angels rejoice when we are realized, rejoice, evolve, become conscious, just like the entities. They take pleasure in humiliating human dignity, tormenting, sending some diseases, torments, fears, somehow humiliating. And behind all the dirt, there are entities. Here are some dirty, bad things, they feed on this dirt when a person does it. Therefore, there are many, many stories. Here was another one, if for the essence, such a case in the 2017 year, a girl went to an esoteric festival. Met a guy who later found out that he was engaged in witchcraft, magic there. And there they have some kind of romance, and she has to leave. And on the last day before leaving, they had intimacy. And she went home. And she tells. She knew that she had known me before. And she calls me in 2 days, "Can I come? I need urgent help." I say, "What happened?" She says, "So I slept with him, came home. I went to bed, I'm sleeping, I wake up in the middle of the night, there is a silhouette covered in blood, red eyes are looking at me. You're mine." She thinks, "Well, maybe I had a nightmare." He says, "I wake up in the morning, I have an obsessive thought. Nobody needs you, throw it out of the window." He says, "And I am a positive, cheerful person. Firmware. He says, go out into the street, there's some kind of janitor there. Well, an elderly one, right. And I have a cape there of sex with him. How will this come to a normal person? And that's all forced. Can you imagine, that is, the person slept with him, yes, this essence passed from him. And now the person has changed everything inside him. By the way, here I think we need to touch on the topic of how they get into people's lives, right?
Yes, very interesting.
I was just telling this story. I'm even here. I have studied this topic deeply in practice, not from books, and I can say that you know. Here I am even in order to try to prioritize somewhere, but more often to less. There are a lot of ways, but I want to tell you the main ones. A very large percentage of people who receive entities, they inherit their breed. In other words, they are not even to blame for this. In my opinion, there are about 50 clients who come to me for this help, or to my students. 50% of those who are entities are of a breed, generic. Why is this happening? We only know the parents, most often the grandmother, grandfather, and then, but we do not always know our kind. But there is such a law in the spiritual world, that if someone in the family consciously concluded a contract or covenant, or some initiations with dark forces, he concluded. And then, this entity passes through the generic channel, and it seems to have the right to be in the genus. Moreover, this is further complicated by the fact that not always, if this essence was with the grandmother, it will manifest in the daughter. There is also such a sleeping demon. That is, he may have signed a contract with his grandmother, the daughter did not have a problem, but the granddaughter showed up. Or the great-granddaughter, after several generations. That is, very often it is a breed. As one very well of my spiritual mentors on exorcism said, he says that every person, he is in the spiritual world. He looks like a bus with his ancestors looking out of the windows. We even often notice in our lives that we did not love or hate something in our relatives, it manifests itself in us, right? And in the same way, when they sign contracts, initiations, someone maybe 7 or 10 years ago, generations ago, killed people in some kind of war, someone turned to the dark forces, yes. That is, very many entities. It's just generic. It's just that a person was born, he didn't do anything wrong, but they are by kind, and they can and should be cleansed from them. This is the first one. The second most common method. It's through intimacy, through sex. Very.
And why?
Because people treat sex, intimacy, as just a physical action for pleasure, and this is a very sacred and spiritual action.
Energy exchange.
Yes. Because during intimacy, two become one. And the spiritual atmosphere that is in one person, it mixes with the spiritual atmosphere that is in another person. When, if a person has intimacy with a bright, consciously awakened person, he can even, through his closeness, a blessing come into his life, because this radiance passes to him. But if a person has intimacy with the cursed person, the contents, he has the essence, then these dark forces have a right. A legitimate right. They're good lawyers, they can't break in like that, but so are you. You're sleeping, everyone, the gates are open. And through intimacy I have a lot of cases, so I once told, yes, a lot. And now I know cases, I slept there, after that the business collapsed. I slept with her, my wife objected, I can't look at her, because these entities enter a person. I'll tell you even more, there are devil worshippers, satanists, they exist, these sects, orders, and they have such a ministry. Called the Bride of Satan. That is, there are certain girls who, with a certain ritual, these demons themselves are high-ranking, or Satan himself. He incarnates into someone, and sleeps with her, and infects her with 1,000 demons. just like stuffing it. And she has a ministry commission, like we have a ministry to spread light. She has a ministry just to sleep with as many men as possible. But only after that, well, somewhere in nightclubs. I mean, she doesn't write that I'm a Satanist there, does she? That is, yes, she has a contract there. The dark forces give her money, there, health, well. Because while she will be alive here, and they give her something, but her soul is sold. But while she lives, she sleeps randomly. And every man who has slept with her, these hundreds of demons enter into it. He slept with her, ruined his business. He slept together, then he has a tumor appears as. He slept with her, he did. I have nightmares. She goes to infect. That is, and very often, when I consult people, they have these problems, they say, listen, but here I am. You know, here I met this man, he looks like my type, but inside it's like don't go, don't get close, it's my type. Okay, well, I am. I like men like that. There is always spiritual immunity. People often who don't know about it, they are afraid there, well, I don't know, there are trichomonates of chlamydia to catch. Not realizing that you can catch a much bigger problem through proximity. The fact that these venereal diseases are treated with antibiotics, but the entities with antibiotics are not that. A lot of cases after intimacy, people have nightmares in life begin. Why? I slept with a person who has these entities, they switched to him. And sometimes the person who infected him with the essence, he was not even aware of it. Well, he will live with them and lives. Therefore, a lot of entities pass through proximity. The third very common way they enter is when a person turns to black sorcerers, witches and occultists, right? And what makes the situation more complicated here? The fact is that often these people who are engaged in black magic, witchcraft, and they do not position themselves as such. That is, some only say, but mostly they can have icons there, they are so divine there, and they have a contract specifically. And there is such a term in the spiritual world, to be under the power of service. What does this mean? This means that if I conduct an appointment as a healer, and you came to my appointment and sat down, here to me. It's in the spiritual world as if you signed that you take all the consequences on yourself. And you agree with everything that I have done to you.
Oh, is this already like a contract? That is, I agreed, I came.
But it's just that you came to me, you trusted me, you kind of put your head up to me. And what kind of energies are behind me? Well, it's fine if you get gay there or to the disciples who are with the Creator and with the angels. And there are a lot of dark ones, a lot. I came for help, I need it. And those who are engaged in magic, witchcraft, occultism, they will not solve the problem, they throw it. That is, you came with a problem, they seem to have removed it, they moved it out of time, in time, 10 years ahead. Or to the family, or to the children, it seems to have helped. But they didn't solve it. But on the other hand, the entity is already connecting to you, because you came to him. And they have such a task to connect more and more.
And we can say that this is a kind of payment that a person pays for the services of, let's say, the same warlock, an occultist. Here he turned, that is.
Absolutely. But here you see, these dark forces are so cunning, devious. Here it turns out, to a person, if they said it verbally, right?
Yes.
You are now, we will help you, but there you will have the essence, right? Or you then your child will get sick or your grandson, right? And I know such cases. A man went, his stomach hurt a lot there. The doctors did not help there, yes. He relieved stomach pain there, the stomach passed, and then the fact that they found a tumor 6 months later. The person does not connect. Well, it's a tumor. I just threw it there, made it worse. Therefore, there is a very large percentage when people go to some masters, sorcerers, dark occultists. Or there are different trainings, classes, different sects. People get there and connect. That's a lot. The next way in which entities enter a person's life is when a person stays on low vibrations for a long time.
In the negative.
In the negative. That is, if a person is all bad, offended, no one loves me. As we said, yes, today, that when we are at low vibrations. On these vibrations, it's like you're in the ocean, where sharks swim. Of course, there is protection. We are created in the image and likeness of God. If you thought there for an hour or two about the negative, they won't jump into you or even a day. This is meant as a way of life already, when a person is immersed systematically, and they penetrate. This is a very common way.
That is, the person himself opens up. When he's in the negative, He lets them in.
When a person stays in negativity for a long time, in low vibrations, in discontent, in disappointment, in unforgiveness, in rejection, he opens the door to entities to enter his life, absolutely. The next way they penetrate is through some events that shocks, psychoemotional shocks. The fact is that when a person experiences psychoemotional shocks, he has this protection, his aura, it weakens at this moment. Or, so to speak, he turns off unstable, and they can penetrate. For example, at the moment of fright, at the moment of an accident, at the moment when a person is sexually or physically abused, beaten or something else, yes, these are the moments. Scared, shouted, something happened, betrayed. And when a person is very, very upset, psychoemotionally strung up, at this moment, too, very often.
He's vulnerable.
Very vulnerable, they get hooked. Here. There also follows another such common way as entities can come. There is also a point that entities can attach to some objects. For example, here I had such a case, and I know, well, I already also communicate with colleagues who are the real exorcists. In other words, there is a point that you need to be careful about objects, especially from Africa or Southeast Asia. Images of some deities, demons, something else, because some of them are dedicated and initiated. Even in some countries of Southeast Asia, there are such figures of demons as vessels, and with a hole. And when you ask them, what kind of hole is this, where does it go in? That is, there are such real stories. I bought some kind of amulet, bought something like that, some kind of head, a demon, put it home. And it started at home. That is, you can even catch it, right?
And how to bring it? Excuse me, please.
How does it work? It works in such a way that those people who are engaged in the dark, they just make some amulets, make some figurines, do rituals, and that's it. And how these entities are attached and sent. Then this person came, a tourist, bought it, brought it.
Is it possible to say that here is a person who is really creating these figures, totems? Yes, that is, it also works for the entity. Here's how to look at the woman who will be interesting.
This is done, of course. These are the people who are, yes.
They also signed contracts, as it were. They work, and this is, as it were, part of their work.
Yes, absolutely. Spread it.
Spread it.
Spread it. Absolutely, yes.
So the distance doesn't matter. This. Mikhail, you also said a very interesting point about that businessman. Here you said at the moment when he is there with a prostitute, yes, as if he does not remember the moment itself. He is, as it were, turned off, disconnected.
I'm just here. When we hear the word possessed, some kind of abnormal maniac immediately comes to mind who is shouting something there, but in fact, this is such a superficial view of ordinary people. If this topic is expertly analyzed, then entities relative to a person geographically, they can be in several states. We have one word possessed, but let's say there are several words in the English language that reflect this demonization of a degree to a degree. And in Hebrew, which has Jewish scriptures and Christian ones, there are different words there. That is, not one word, but different. Each word reflects a certain degree of demonization. I'll explain it to you now. In other words, the simplest level of demonization is when the entity is in the human field. That is, she does not even enter inside, she is in his field, she is about, yes. She sends thoughts, she whispers to him. This is, by the way, very often these generic entities are family, because they have the right to move along the birth canal, along the family tree, but the person himself did not sign the signature, and they are, but inside they are like, well.
They don't work yet.
Yes, yes. And often people who turn to me, they say, I have nightmares there, someone comes to me, he wants to attract attention. I ask the angels, they say, so this is an entity that says, well, come with me, well, for the keys. And I'll give you these abilities, which were about the grandmother, I'll give you. And so they attract so much attention, bite, scare, strangle. Yes, that's how very often there are incubi, succubi who rape. That's 90% of the cases it's generic, and in 10% it's after both occult practices or witchcraft. That is, with strong demons, archdemons, who are their Lucifer, Beelzebub, Baphomet, all of these, and there is Isabel. An ordinary person will not encounter. This can only be encountered if a person has come into contact with magic, occultism, that is, they are in this sphere. Here. That is, it's in the field. That is, he just walks in the field, whispers, speaks, sends thoughts. And small ones are also in the field. This is the easiest degree, there are none inside. The second, most common, is called possessed by a demon. This is the most common situation. The essence is in the field of a person, then for some moment it enters inside, covers the person. The person does something in an unconscious state, but it cannot gain a foothold in him for some reason, and comes out again. And there is a certain time of remission, until the next attack. And a person in this state, he does not remember, he does not consciously tell what he told. He says, I did this, well, I did this, and then, why am I here? She's all beat up there, she's a drug addict. Here, maybe I have children, he may have hiv, he may have hepatitis, under the bridge, me. That I'm here. He woke up because she came out. I'm crying. I will never do that. He says to me, how many times have I promised, I've told my friend there, and promised God, but he can't, because it covers him. He is in a state of passion.
He doesn't own himself.
Does not own. You know, when I was studying this topic, and then somehow accidentally visited my mother, and there was a program about these maniacs. And there was one maniac. I don't usually watch this, but just like that, when you do it, you're out of space.
Pulling up.
Pulling up. A maniac asks him, he says, I say, I'm going, I'm living an ordinary life. Then they put a black bucket on me, and then I woke up next to a torn corpse. That's it. And until the next time so. Here. This essence enters, embraces, a person does something, screams, fights, does something terrible, bad. Then one time, she came out, I won't do it anymore. But he can't stop it himself. In other words, this is the second case. The third case is that we have already discussed when. This is when it already lives completely inside, and the will has already been completely enslaved. In fact, such cases are not so common. Most often, I've been doing this since 2006 year, this is the second case when entities, they enter. Cover for a time a state of affect, unconsciousness. A person does something, then he cries, I won't do it anymore, and can't cope. This is the most common one. Therefore, here it is necessary to distinguish this too. And if you take the question, sort it out about how to get rid of the essence, yes, then here it is too. If, say, she's already inside, then there are ways to liberate them. Well, there are ways to liberate themselves, yes.
That is, a person can do it himself.
Yes, if it's so simple, if when the entity is in the field, he can get rid of it himself, and break it so that.
Until the entity entered it.
Yes. When it already goes inside, it comes out. In mild cases, it is sometimes possible. But most often it requires the help of a specialist. When already inside, a person absolutely cannot help himself, as it were, because there are also different degrees of demonization. And they also have a hierarchy. There are small, weak, large ones. And, let's say, if a small entity, here is a small entity a person has picked up. Does a person just live a pure moral life? A person simply does the practice of raising the vibration, prayer, meditation, often this is enough already. Because when a person communicates with the Creator, with the angels, he lives cleanly. It's like diclofos for them, that's how diclofos used to be for flies. They can't be there. And many of my familiar students told me that at our school, we also do prayers and meditations there. They say that when we enter the depths, prayers, meditations, during meditation there was often nausea, yawning, and vomiting sometimes. These are nothing but symptoms of liberation, although a person meditated, prayed, and he became ill. It's just that so much light has gone, that darkness, it can't be there anymore, and self-purification takes place. Therefore, if someone is watching, if you are during prayers, meditation, you may sometimes feel yawning, belching, vomiting. This is normal. It means that light has come to you and something dark has come out of you or is coming out. Now, if the situation is more complicated, they are already more cunning, more arrogant, more organized. They dig in there, get fixed. Right. That's when you need to look for such an assistant, a specialist, because it's already outside, you already need to push him out. You need to expel him.
And that's how you expel. That's how you help a person. This process, how does it work? Can you tell me about the exorcism? Yes.
Yes. Well, in general, it's interesting that exorcism, it is described in all the main traditions, that is, it is described in Muslims expel jinnis. Jews, they call them dibuki, also some rabbis. The Orthodox have a report, yes, that is, Catholics have exorcism, more of it came from Catholicism to the term. That is, it is described in all traditions. And the essence of exorcism in general is that these demons, they are afraid of only two things. They are afraid of the energy of light, the energy of love, that comes from the Creator. And they are afraid of those people who know that they have power over them, spiritual power. Well, if the first one, yes, let's take the moment of the instrument. That is, if a person spends time in communication with the Creator, with angels, prays, meditates, lives according to his heart, according to his conscience. It is imbued with vibrations, light and radiance of the Creator. And this flow that is in a person, they are afraid of it. This is the first one, right? And secondly, what they are afraid of when a person knows. That is, the most effective exorcists, they know about their spiritual power. Because look, we can treat ourselves differently. I can treat myself like Mikhail, identify myself. I can treat myself as a spiritual practitioner, but for exorcism you need to have such an attitude that I am one with the Creator. I am a channel of God, my power is from God. And it's not just that I'm, like, trying to believe it, but I have to know it. Because when this purification happens, if there is a serious strong demon, he reads a person. And he feels that you just want to try to expel him, or you have the real power to expel him, he reads it in a split second. And who are strong, serious demons, they often talk. They say, "And who are you? I've been living here for 30 years. I have been told to my face many times, you are a little boy, I am. You haven't been here yet, I've already been here on this earth. Who are you? Do you want to banish me? Don't make me laugh." Sometimes they even swear. And if you are not sure of the power that stands behind you, if you do not have a strong connection with the Creator, yes, then, of course, they will not listen to you. You know, there's a joke like this. Come out, please come out. Oh well, you're not much of an exorcist, are you? I won't come out, yes. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, well, first of all, it's preparation. This is preparation. Why did I open a school? I teach this, right? Because so many people are really just shy and afraid to talk about it, that someone is raping me there at night, or I have suicidal thoughts. Because, well, that they will be taken for crazy, right? But in fact, a big problem, and this is hard spiritual work, this is asceticism. Because just like that, right now it's giving an exorcism, it won't go. Entities are expelled not only through awareness, that is, preparation precedes, that is, a certain asceticism, prayer, fasting. There was a situation described in the Bible when the disciples expelled one demon, the second, the third, and then brought a boy there. They cast him out, he does not leave. They come up to Jesus, he says, "Yes, you drove out those, but here is another one. He is bigger, he is bolder, and his prayer alone will not drive him out. He is driven out only by prayer and fasting." In other words, you need not just to pray, but to retire, to refuse food, to be alone with God.
So the exorcist needs it. Yes, preparation. Should the exorcist prepare?
Of course. That is, there are different entities. When I talk to a person, I see from experience that there is no need for preparation at all. I'll just come up, put my hand on it, say something there, she'll leave, right? And here I need to enter this channel of the Creator myself, and through this spiritual preparation, when I come and when I say this, I am already identified with the Creator, as I speak, and as the Creator speaks. I even have a phrase during an exorcism, I say, the Creator says, I command to heaven, I look, God looks at you. And you're burning right now. So the point is, the essence of exorcism is that if you just come, go, who are you? Come on, go, goodbye, right? In other words, the point is that through certain prayers, preparations and practices, you come as a representative of God. and your voice as the voice of God, and your gaze as the gaze of God, and they have no way to stay. But to enter this state, you need preparation, you need to know these practices, and it's hard work. Sometimes it takes a few hours for it to come out.
Mikhail, but you said, if there is a small demon. Yes, as if there are enough forces there. And if it's serious without, that is, an exorcism needs to be. An exorcist needs to be stronger than that demon so that he leaves. Is that how this moment is?
Yes, that is, well, there are different, well, like in the physical world there are different loads. Yes, I can lift this now. But I can't lift this now, I need to train to lift it, right? That is, there is, well, they also have a hierarchy from the dark world. And if one here, if we say, well, larva, yes, there are entities there, yes. That is, they are just you called the flow of the Creator, they are afraid of fire, the fire of the Creator, the radiance of the Creator. Or they just walked with a candle there, they are afraid of both physical and spiritual fire. They'll just burn up. This is the easiest way. If there are these demons there, yes, they are not difficult to leave there either. Well, if it's interesting, yes, I can't tell you everything, you need to, yes, go to school, yes. Well, in general terms, how does this exorcist go? First of all, there is a consultation. And in the spiritual world, there is such a concept of legal right. Legal right and legal basis. That is, if a person has this essence, it is stupid to expel it immediately. Here. We need to find out why she's there. Because if you don't find out the reason, you can even expel it, and if the reason remains, then in 2 days it will return again. Therefore, the first thing in an exorcism is a consultation. What's bothering you? Why? And we need to try to find the reasons. It's called an open door. In other words, there was some kind of open door that allowed this entity to enter a person's life. Some kind of open door. Maybe it came through the mouth. Maybe it came through promiscuous sex life. Maybe it came from the fact that a person went to different masters, sorcerers, witches, and picked up. Maybe it came because he was raped or beaten, and he had a psycho-emotional shock. Or sometimes a loved one died there, he was not ready, he grieved so much. Or maybe it came from the fact that he lived for many years, right? Or maybe it came from something else. We need to find out. Then, there is a special renunciation ceremony. If we found out that a person or a breed, yes, it came, or a person himself concluded contracts, it is necessary to renounce it, then the person must say himself, I renounce all contracts, conscious, unconscious, with dark forces. I disconnect myself from the demonic world. He has to say in front of the whole spiritual world that I don't want to have anything to do with this, and there is a law of free will. If a person does not want to be entities, if he wants to go into the light, this is already 55%. No one can stop him.
The right to choose.
Yes, he declares this to the spiritual world, and the Creator confirms it. In other words, a person must renounce. That is, consultation, renunciation, and then a prayer is needed, so that a person asks for forgiveness for all his wrong actions. Unconscious sins, if he offended someone, destroyed them, because they hold on to it. That's what they're all holding on to. It's like a reason not to leave. That is, first you need to remove the reasons why they can resist. Because when there is an exorcism itself without preparation, it is like this. Once, and I will not come out, because. Why? And because she hasn't forgiven mom, she hates her. I have had cases, there is an exorcism, I will not come out. There's also everything that sends us there. It turns out she's with her mother there, well, at her place. I told you to forgive her.
That is, if there is a negative, the entity clings to it and holds it. This.
Not forgiveness, some kind of evil, or what kind of person is doing wrong somehow. And when a person forgave it, let it go, that's all, there are no grounds, and they go out there. In other words, this is a very big part of the preparation for this. Consultations, clarifications, renunciations. And the person, as it were, once untied all the knots, thanks to which they came to life. It turns out that there was an open door, we closed it, and then we simply order the orders by the power of God. By the power of the Creator, we order them to go out, and they go out. Sometimes they come out asymptomatically, but most often yawning, belching, coughing, screaming, sometimes with words, sometimes different convulsions, in different ways. For everyone individually.
You said that there is a hierarchy in the world of demons, and in what way does this hierarchy manifest itself? That's what I mean. Is that how it feels? That is, this demon is stronger and weaker. In other words, it is precisely by their strength that the hierarchy goes. Yes, that's who's stronger. And you also said that a person rarely encounters Lucifer with large demons. And is it possible here? Well, how to say these large demons on single people, as if yes, they are like.
I get it.
They are not oriented, but can they affect massively? That's the interest of these big demons, and how do they manifest themselves?
I get it. Well, I can say that if metaphorically, figuratively it is difficult, that is, it is for understanding. Just imagine, small, medium, and large, right? Here are the small ones. We will call these entities, these are larvae. What is larva? Larvae are the most low organized. I call them brainless demons, my inner term, yes. This is essentially it. The person had a thought form, for example, I smoke or I have a predilection for canonism there, or an addiction to alcohol. And I thought about it a lot, gave it attention. It was a thought, then the thought turns into a thought form, then it becomes highly organized, and turns into an entity. And then this entity that you created yourself, it sends you a signal, doing this, you do it, and it takes your energy. And becomes even fatter, it sends you again. This is larva. Her. It's not a demon, it's a larva.
And a person really gets exhausted in this, so it can even be physical.
Yes, and when a person is freed from larva, it's easiest to call fire from them just by prayer, or even by physical fire. Then a person during this, when the connection is interrupted, a person has this withdrawal syndrome, somehow it breaks down. Sometimes even the temperature rises, because this connection burns down, and that's it. And the man is everything, he does not have this addiction. These are the larvae, they are the smallest. Then there are the average demons. The larvae. Average demons. Demons, if with astral vision, they have the appearance of animals, snakes, birds, some totems, well, just some entities like from the animal world most often. Here is a rat, a hedgehog, a snake, a boa constrictor, a dog, a tiger. That's the plan. Here, this is the average view. There are most of them. And here they are as a rule, when there is an exorcism, they come out just at once with a belch, with a cough, with vomiting, yes. People pick up such entities. How do they get in? This is most often when a person lives on low vibrations, a person lives on the vibrations of lust, gets hooked without lust. Lives on the vibrations of alcohol. Well, everything connects, right? This is the most common, right? And there are archdemons, these are these fallen angels who. They are these Lucifer, they all just can't come to a person like that. Because, if we take it in the spiritual world, we create larvae ourselves. They are demons constantly walking around the world. Let's say a person has been cleaned, they return to the world again, they are looking for some person to get hooked on. Who is on the same vibration, then demons, they do not walk around the world like this. Because demons, they are associated with black magic, with witchcraft. And when occultists, sorcerers, in order to summon these demons, they do a rite, they are taken out of hell about them. And here they are from hell. And then, when such an exam is held, they must be returned to hell again. And here are high-ranking demons, they are behind occultism and witchcraft, and an ordinary person can open the door to their own life. But these are the most when, if a person does vile things. But few people know this is such exorcism information. When there is a perversion, such as incest, pedophilia, bestiality, these vices of self-disgust, there are black magic demons behind them. These are unusual demons. Because why? Because these archdemons do not serve the Dark One himself, but his task is to trample on human dignity. That is, in the eyes of the Creator, man. It's a manifestation of the divine, it's a beautiful creature, right? And these people want to trample him into the dirt, they want to defame him, they want to ruin everything for him. You know, right? Doing something that, well, a normal person would never think of. Therefore, for these very vices.
Heavy.
These archdemons are standing there. Therefore, there are always orgies going on during satanic ceremonies. That's exactly why. Because human dignity is being humiliated. That is, as if the demons say, "Look, this is your beautiful creation, which he had a vocation, I don't know, to be a teacher. Or to be a cook, to bring peace and light to people. And we deceived him so much, so he was tricked, that now we are doing what with him. And he, well, agrees with it. Here we are doing such perversions over him. And this is your divine creation, we have trampled it into the mud.
But if you remember here about
Mikhail
sexy energy, that's when orgies, that is to summon a demon, you need some kind of major force. Yes, that's why.
Oh well, yes, that's a slightly different question. Just more.
The moment is here.
I got it, yeah. Well, yes, a little. Well, this question intersects. Just sexual energy. This is one of the strongest, and maybe the strongest energy that is available to man after the divine. Available to a person, because during sex, yes, a new one is created, right? Why, for example, say, athletes before important competitions, they do not have intimacy, because. Or why the creative people who are there at the Congress, they have no intimacy, or extremely rarely, they have masterpieces born. Because sexual energy, it is very. This is a powerful creative force. And the intimacy is sexual. This is only a facet and a private manifestation of sexual energy. That is, for ordinary people, for people, both sexual energy and sex are equal. No. Sexual energy is like a diamond that has many facets, but one facet. This is physical intimacy. And in a broad sense, in such a global sense, sexual energy is the creative energy of joy, pleasure, which creates worlds and creates new things. When the Creator created us, He dissolved us in pleasure with pleasure. In a sense, at the moment of creation, there was such a universal ecstasy too, yes. And that's why there is a lot of potential here. And people, well, we know, yes, athletes are there before competitions, because this energy accumulates. They become stronger if they have austerity. Creative people who don't live a sexual life there for some time, or abstain there, yes, they also have such different ideas. Something is born in them. And there are different practices when you can. Well, an ordinary person is unconscious how. He once came, this desire came, he immediately so. I need intimacy, yes, or I need to masturbate there, yes. A spiritual person, a conscious person, he will not do this. He can use this energy once and above, here in the heart. And it doesn't go away, it transforms, and it gives him ideas, impulses. And $1 million idea may come, she may have a project that will warm the whole city there. And those people who live only at the lower energy centers, they just got an idea there, he keeps this energy all the time. How even the term is drained, right? That is, he drains it and it does not go further. But you need to live harmoniously. There should be sexual intimacy, but it should be with your partner, and it should be with the frequency with which you feel it should be, yes. And as for intimacy, we should understand that we have discussed today that during intimacy, there is a mutual exchange, that is, an energy exchange. Yes, that is, the real stories are not described specifically. I have come across people picking up the dark, in the same way people can pick up from the light. You can become enlightened, and you can, as it were, throw yourself into the light, at another level of consciousness. If you communicate with a bright person, make friends, if you have intimacy, yes. That is, it's all there. Now in the context of why, if we take occultism, exorcism, yes, why sexual orgies often take place during satanic orgies. That is why there is an exchange of energies. And such a moment. One day the angels showed me this principle. Here we are living on earth, we are in our physical bodies, right? But when we are disembodied, we have souls. But on the subtle plane, these souls, that is, the higher the level in the spiritual world, the planes of being, the less individuality we have. That is, on the upper planes, we are all a single whole. But this, I think you believe it. We're all one, right?
Yes.
Well, not so sharply that the body and then everything is one. That is, the body, the soul, then there are also families of friendly souls who come together, help each other. Sometimes there are people like that. How do you understand that he is not your husband, not your wife? But he is like a close friend to you, a soul mate, and he helps you. This is a soul that is kindred spirits who came together and help each other, right? That is, kindred spirits, and then one single whole. Just why am I so far away? Because I will say such a moment, if people do not explain it, it may be wrong, I take a risk, yes, interpreted. In other words, here is such a subtle moment in a broad spiritual sense, if you are a manifestation of God. And I am a manifestation of God, yes. And, let's say, yes, there is closeness between us, yes, in fact, because on that plane we are all one, and we are one with God. Then in fact, when you have your partner from the Creator, and you are close to Him, in a sense, the Creator loves you through the body of this person. Because there we are all one. And a person, if it is real, if it is pure, he experiences joy, pleasure. In other words, the Creator loves you. And when this is done in the dark, in Satanism, then the same meaning, only the opposite. That is, the devil loves you and fills you with himself. That is, this is the meaning.
And why do people engage in occultism? Summon a demon that big?
Oh, I asked this question a few years ago. I didn't seem to find the answer here. Here I asked the angels why people, consciously, realizing that they will have to somehow pay with their soul, the health of their loved ones there, and consciously go and conclude contracts with the dark ones. Do you know what answer I got? The fact is that that's how magic happens. Yes, let's say white magic, dark magic. Both are magic. Here I am, let's say I can clean a person with God's help, right? I can, with God's help him with his health there, yes. I can hear something there from the angels through a dream, to tell a person this with the help of divine powers. But when it was revealed to me before, I went through such a transformation, the Creator freed me from ego. I was freed from some addictions, there was a change inside me, humility somewhere, repentance somewhere there. Well, right. In other words, there was a transformational evolutionary process, and then the Creator gave it to me. And what is the essence of magic? I don't want to change. I am what I am. I give my soul, and give me everything. That is, I am now, let's say, a well-known person in some circles, well, socially successful. I have an international school there. People are studying, there are results. Even without advertising, people come, they reveal it, everything. But how did I come to this? And I went to this for 10 years, and there were all sorts of situations. And there was a time when I didn't have the money to buy milk for the youngest child, and there was everything. And with God's help, I went through it, and the Creator gave it to me. And those who are magic, they say, I am what I am, I'm not going to change. He has an ego at the forefront. I'm just. Give me money, give me power, give me sex. Yes, take your soul, so what? I'm going to live right now. That is, people don't want to. They want everything at once and now. And they don't want to change. And the root of Satanism is what? Even in their books it is written that there is a principle there. It is very much connected with pride. The very first sin was pride, yes, Lucifer. That is, there is the essence of this Satanism, your word and your desire is the law. The rest of the people seem to, well, live on earth so that you can, well, how to serve you or I do not know, well, your whims. And in general, they are like cockroaches all, I want. I'll kill, I want to spoil it in plain sight, I want to. That is, people are like garbage. That is, ego and pride are at the head there. Therefore, people who do not work with this pride, do not work out their sense of self-importance. They are on a dangerous path, because this energy is not divine. There is even a text in Holy Scripture that God resists the proud. In the modern translation, God Himself will stand in your way if you are proud. He hates it. Yes, He hates the proud. This is what made the overshadowing archangel the devil. He was there, it is described in the primary sources, he was the leader of the angels, who are there the right hand there. All because of pride became proud.
Mikhail, and you said before the conversation that when a person creates a larva for himself, that is, the larva then begins to eat him, that is, he has an energy interest. And now we can say what we have just been talking about with occultism, yes, with this energy here, if a person has an excessively inflated ego, yes, that is, he wants an inordinately large amount of power here. Is it possible to say that this occultism is really here, yes, with the presence of an orgy, that is, as if some kind of powerful energy release. Yes, that is, a strong demon is called, so that this is not a single one, but a mass influence. Here are some situations that even this story can be.
I totally agree. Let's just say that what happens on the dark side, in general, all creativity is from God, the Creator, all creativity. The dark forces just sort of copy it in their own way. Here, well, for example, let's say there are some, I don't know, associations of spiritual people. There is some kind of general meditation, yes, for world peace, yes, so that goodness comes, awareness, radiance there. I do not know who is there. Someone is praying there in the church, someone is in the mosque. That's how it is all over the world. In the same way, they have their own rituals there, gatherings, some rituals in order to spread this darkness. And there are people. Why is it dangerous now to just watch TV or there on the internet? There are people who are involved in this, just as, let's say, there is propaganda of some non-traditional moments and something else. It's not just happening. These are people who are involved to destroy traditional values, to destroy everything sacred, that is. Yes, destructive, so it. And they do it, and energetically they do it, rituals, accordingly certain prayers, meditations, and they also do it, unite. Cash injections, advertise, promote special songs that I have recently read these. We have some athletes who started protesting against some musicians, because my son turned on me there. That he was singing there during the clip, snorting cocaine, debauchery, everything. Well, that's right, people are outraged, how is it? And the child, he has an immature psyche, he believes that this is the norm. That is, it goes to influence in order to. That is, one occultism, there is an occultist, that he will attract that one there, will harm that one. And if it is massively through the media, through propaganda. Duh.
Media, it works, right?
Very much, yes.
I just wanted to ask, here in fact are the world-famous show business stars there. Here they are openly talking. And I sold my soul to the devil to have such success. And you can see very strange signs in their clips. And with all that, yes, it's open. Yes, it's like it's no secret to anyone, that is, and this is what you just said. They are grouped into these groups and work, as it were.
Yes, they have. Together. They collect them, they have them there. Well, somewhere, in some cases, these are Masonic lodges of some kind, in some secret ones, an order, and that's it. And they also interact in such a way that they help each other, promote each other, so that they are, as it were, in the state. In some territories, so that they are opinion leaders. Let's say, in the same way as we want to tell about the Creator, about the vocation, yes, so that people sow it, yes. That is, they want through destructive songs, through the imposition of a depraved lifestyle, to inspire people, young people. That this is the norm, and then more young people come into it, and have more energy is taken from them, young people. For these same dark ones. That is, they sort of prepare the ground for themselves, and sow it in the minds of those who are not strong, this negative. So that it would be like capturing as many people as possible.
And you can also have such a common, well-known anim like this. And here is the anim here, and here are Japanese fairy tales. But there are also a lot of such facts. Here the child looked, and he committed suicide. It's like he's there too. Here are the well-known TV shows there. They're exorcists there also, as it were. Conducted experiments. Well, there really a person felt a negative influence. How does it work? And in general, should we be afraid of this? Does it exist?
Thank you for remembering that. When I was telling those doors when devils and demons enter, I forgot to mention, and that's just what a very common way. As it happens the first time they enter. These are watching horror movies, watching dirty anim, and watching pornography. And sometimes, if a person looked there once, no, the person still has basic protection. I mean, when a person gets involved and starts watching, but sometimes even from the first time, these moments are pornography. Dirty horror movies, there's scaring, running, blood, and that's what you said anim, that's all opens the door with a demon. It's very dangerous. It's very dangerous.
That is, if a person becomes interested, as we said, that's where attention goes, there is energy, that is,
They will be interested, they will watch it, get carried away with it on this wave. And this is like, I do not know, honey for bees, so for demons, this is a house for rent in the spiritual world. We are on your vibration, move in. Here's how it happens. And they have the right. He's watching it, he opened the door for us. We're coming in.
you just said about pornography. I was just watching Ted Bundy. Yes, here, unfortunately, is a famous American maniac that's killed a huge number of people. And that's the same thing as you said. He said that he was not in control of himself. But there was an interesting moment when he was telling, yes, how it all started for him. He spoke directly, I was influenced, I felt influenced. And when he talked about how it started, he said, at first, I was interested in pornography. He says that at first, as if with pictures, so harmless, well, as if so erotic, you can say, then it went like pornography, then like hardcore pornography. He says, I then began to have these thoughts, but I did not allow myself to do this. But, he says, it all started when I drank alcohol, here and here in connection with this, here again, here you said there with pornography. And here is the moment too, alcohol and drug addiction. That's how it also contributes to the fact that these entities enter into life. Do they weaken our defenses?
That is, well, I would say, let's say, well, pornography, drugs, absolutely, absolutely. As for alcohol, there is such a controversial point here, I will say now, yes, about it. So what's going on? Let's say a person is on drugs, he loses awareness. Any person is an unconscious state when he is not aware, and he loses touch with the Creator, with the higher self, and at this moment, he reveals himself to be a demon and a demon. Well, these are all states. I would add mushrooms here, and there are more, under substances. Very often people also become immunized when such heavy or trance music is played under substances. And here it opens up very much. There are cultural moments about alcohol. For example, in some Western countries, even priests can sometimes drink a bottle of beer or alcohol there. I'm not justifying it, I'm just saying cultural moments. And when I ask the angels how, they say, well, in general, this is how it happens that if, let's say, well, a person drank a glass of dry wine there, well, in the company, there and drank everything, and he remains conscious. It does not open the door with a demon and a demon. Alcohol in general. It's such a unique substance, yes, and in a bad and good sense, because if, for example, you have a good mood, and you drink a little alcohol, it will become even better. If you are in a bad mood, you will drink, it will become even worse. Alcohol, it enhances the condition that you have. As one person joked, he says, he had a fight at home with his wife and mother-in-law. Here I left, there were 2 of them, I got drunk, I come back, there are 4 of them. The problem hasn't been solved, has it? It's become bifurcated, right? That is my opinion. You see, I am a spiritual mentor, but I take the liberty to say this, because I am sure that, let's say, there are some people who can drink a glass of dry wine in the company and stay conscious. And well, there will not be some kind of obsession, and it happens extremely rarely without advice, here. But there is, let's say, that threshold when a person drinks, that's normally a conscious spiritual person. He has a connection with the Creator, with the heart, but after a certain dose of alcohol, his connection with the upper worlds is interrupted and connections with the lower ones are opened. You see, yes, when a person was sitting, smiling, drinking, and then at a certain moment, he has thoughts of swearing, fighting, fornication of some kind. Well, I once saw this process, that when a person is sitting drinking alcohol, yes, that is, let's say he drank the first glass, he had everything dispersed inside just depending on this current state. But then, when he takes a certain dose, and they show me a direct connection with the heart and with the Creator, he cuts himself off. The person cuts the connection. And that is, the upper one goes to this upper stream, and they start talking to him from there, from below, yes, from the lower worlds. And plus these lower worlds, they always cooperate with the ego. God always cooperates with the heart, and we cannot throw away our heart in any way, it is always there. We can listen and not. We can't throw away the ego either, while we are in this body. We can listen to him or not. But the lower ones, they always cooperate with the ego. And pay attention, a person who is under alcohol, he is all the time, well, often. Yes, I told you, you don't appreciate. Yes, I'm there. Yes, I am. Here. And now these dark ones are starting to throw up. Of course, these are entities, yes, and a person in this state can do a lot of bad things, unfortunately, yes.
Mikhail, what could you wish our viewers so that they are healthy and that these entities do not bother?
Yes, thank you for this broadcast. It was nice to talk to you. I can advise, friends, here are some simple tips. First of all, our main task is to live in joy, enjoyment, and pleasure. When we live in joy, in pleasure, in enjoyment, when we love ourselves, this world is no longer so little, it is already a lot. And we were born for this. Secondly, it is important to listen to your heart, and when your mind tells you one thing, and your heart tells you another. Take the side of the heart more, because it is the heart. The mind only knows what it knows, but the heart knows for 10 or 20 years ahead. Next tip. Many illnesses, troubles due to the fact that we are not doing our business or do not know about our vocation. Yes, friends, ask the Creator and the universe why you were born, why you came to this earth, and through interest, through desire, you will be led to where you need to go. And I will also advise you to engage in spiritual practices. Being in your tradition, pray, meditate, sing songs, do the practice of gratitude every morning. Find at least 12 reasons every day for which you are grateful to the Creator and the universe. It raises vibrations very powerfully. It also raises the vibration of privacy in nature when we spend time in silence, in solitude. So, I want to wish you all the best, so that you are friends with the Creator, with the angels, so that you listen to your heart. And so that the energy of love, goodness, and the enjoyment of pleasant surprises are always in your homes and families.
Thank you very much, Mikhail, for coming to us today and sharing your experience. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, dear viewers, for being with us today. Be vigilant, take care of yourself, and see you again.
Hello. Shadow control is on the air. Every person in his life repeatedly encounters magic and what is inexplicable. And when faced with this, he often forgets, although the consequence remains. And the question is, what is magic? False or true? Magic exists, and it is real. If magic was a fantasy or a deception, it wouldn't have existed for so many thousands of years. And throughout all this time, it has seduced and seduces the masses of people to this day. Magic is the oldest and most numerous religion, the religion of Satan, whose adherents are even atheists. That is why all the prophets at all times said about the inadmissibility of practicing magic, that magic does not lead to hell. And yet, some religions, originally built on the true teachings introduced by the prophets, today openly engage in magic, conduct various magical rituals, offerings, sacrifices. But after all, the prophets did not do this and, moreover, bequeathed not to do it. All these actions are imposed by the devil. Just like begging. Allegedly, God has material goods and health. But the prophets said, it is not worth asking God for anything, except for the salvation of the soul. It turns out that those who had to fight and resist magic openly serve Satan. Why is she so attractive? When people, knowing about the ruinousness, and yet, exchange the eternal for the momentary. Ghostly material. Yes, the invisible world exists, and it is diverse, like the ocean is full of unknown life. And together with you, friends, we would like to understand a little bit about what magic really is, why it is so tempting, and how the invisible world really works.